Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the unique architecture of xAI's flagship model, Grok. We're going to unpack its central mystery, why its entire existence, its personality, and its competitive edge are all completely anchored to the X platform.
So, think about this for a second. Have you ever asked a major AI model about some breaking news event, only to get that super frustrating robotic response? You know the one. I'm sorry, my knowledge cutoff date is... Oh, man, it is maddening. Traditional AI models are basically just frozen in time. They know absolutely everything up to a certain month and year, and then just a total blackout. Well, this explainer is all about xAI's solution to that exact problem. They didn't just want to build another smart chatbot. No, they wanted to build an AI with a live, pulsing connection to the present moment.
All right, let's jump into Section 1. What is Grok? This is xAI's answer to the AI race.
To really get Grok, we first have to look at where it came from. So, founded back in July 2023 by Elon Musk, xAI put together this absolute heavyweight team from OpenAI, DeepMind, and Google Brain, basically to catch up in the whole AI race. And they went with a very specific, incredibly ambitious name. Grok isn't just some made-up tech buzzword, it actually has deep science fiction roots. The term comes from Robert Heinlein's classic 1961 novel, Stranger in a Strange Land. In that book, to grok something means to understand it so thoroughly, so completely, that you literally become one with it. And honestly, that perfectly illustrates xAI's philosophical goal here. They aren't just trying to parse text, they want Grok to deeply, intuitively understand the world and all of us humans living in it.
Which brings us to Section 2, the secret sauce. Let's call it the X-data advantage.
So how do you actually get an AI to deeply understand humanity in real time? Well, you give it a direct pipeline to where humanity is talking. That is the core difference in AI architecture today. Traditional models like ChatGPT and Claude rely on static training data. Sure, they read millions of books and articles, but that data has a hard cutoff date. Grok, on the other hand, is deeply integrated with X. It's fed by this continuous, live stream of human conversation. It doesn't just know history, it knows what literally happened 5 minutes ago. And that translates to massive practical advantages for us. Grok tracks breaking news right as it unfolds natively on the platform. It can research viral conversations, meaning it understands not just what happened, but what people are actually saying about it right now. If a public figure makes a statement, boom, Grok has up-to-the-minute context. It can search trending info and pull directly from the X post archive. That's a massive data set that literally no other AI company on Earth has native access to. It's a real game changer.
But here's the thing. Data doesn't just provide facts. It fundamentally shapes personality. Because Grok was trained partly on the full, totally unfiltered archive of X posts, it naturally developed a very different cultural knowledge base than its peers. The source material actually describes it as having a less filtered, direct, and witty personality. Basically, this means Grok is designed to be way more casual, sometimes a little edgy, and noticeably more willing to engage with questions that other AI models are just programmed to decline or dodge completely. It reflects the raw, conversational tone of the very platform it learns from.
Moving on to Section 3, Rapid Evolution. This is the journey from a fun chatbot to a reasoning powerhouse.
Now, having real-time data is great and all, but the underlying intelligence engine needs to be incredibly powerful to actually make sense of it. xAI leveraged X's massive shared computing infrastructure to iterate and scale Grok's models at blazing fast speeds. Look at this timeline. In November 2023, they launched Grok 1, which was positioned mainly as that fun, witty model. Just a few months later, March 2024, they dropped Grok 1.5, bringing major improvements to reasoning and coding. Then August 2024, Grok 2 arrives, bringing in image generation and suddenly becoming fully competitive with GPT-4o on major benchmarks. And then, February 2025, they unleashed Grok 3, trained on Colossus, which is this insane custom supercomputer cluster built in Memphis, Tennessee. This model delivered massive leaps in math, science, and overall reasoning capabilities.
Let's look at Section 4, Capabilities. What can Grok actually do?
So what does all this mean for you when you actually sit down at your keyboard? Well, beyond that exclusive real-time X search, Grok offers the whole shebang. It can browse the live web to supplement its answers. It's got full image generation built right in, powered by xAI's in-house model, Aurora. It can do image analysis, meaning you just upload a photo and it reads and describes it. It is an absolute powerhouse for advanced coding, debugging, and explaining software. And with Grok 3, they introduced a brand new Think mode. This is where the AI actually reasons through complex problems step by step before answering you, very similar to OpenAI's o1 and o3 series. It's become a seriously highly capable productivity suite.
131,000. Now, that number represents Grok's context window, specifically 131,000 tokens. In AI terms, if you're not familiar, the context window is basically the model's short-term memory during a single conversation. It dictates how much text it can juggle in its head all at once. At 131,000 tokens, Grok can process massive documents or entirely huge code bases. But actually, more importantly for its unique X integration, this huge window allows it to analyze huge swaths of chaotic, real-time live feeds, or those super long branching threads from X, all at the exact same time. It synthesizes what humanity is saying without ever losing the thread of your conversation.
All right, Section 5, the matchup. It's Grok versus ChatGPT versus Claude.
If you're trying to decide which tool to use among the heavyweights, the dividing line is actually pretty clear. When we compare Grok against ChatGPT and Claude, it really truly comes down to real-time data. Grok is a native yes to the X data pipeline, while the others are a hard no. They simply do not have that pipeline. And honestly, that cascades directly down to personality. Grok is direct and witty with far fewer refusals. ChatGPT, well, it aims for a very balanced, helpful tone. Claude leans heavily toward being super careful and thorough. So your choice of tool really depends on what kind of interaction and what kind of data you need right in that moment.
There's also another major philosophical distinction I have to point out here. Back in March 2024, xAI actually took the partial weights for the Grok 1 model and made them open source. This instantly made it one of the largest openly available language models in the world for developers to tinker with. By contrast, systems like ChatGPT and Claude, they remain entirely closed and proprietary. Now, while xAI hasn't open-sourced the newer Grok 2 or 3 models yet, that initial release was a really massive move in the AI community.
So you might be wondering, how do you actually get your hands on this? There are a few ways. The primary integration is right inside the X app and website. You can get limited free access there, or you can unlock the really powerful models and higher usage limits by subscribing to X Premium or Premium Plus. If you want a totally distraction-free environment, there's a standalone web interface over at grok.com. Developers can tap into the xAI API at api.x.ai. And finally, there is a dedicated Grok mobile app for both iOS and Android, which even features a really cool voice mode for spoken conversations.
Which brings us to a question I want to leave you with today. We've seen how Grok's entire identity is built on this real-time pipeline. But looking forward, in the future of AI, is the ultimate source of truth going to be curated historical data, carefully vetted but locked completely in the past? Or is it the unfiltered, messy, direct, and live pulse of human conversation happening right now? xAI has clearly placed their bet. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll catch you next time.